Today in our 2017 Toyota Camry, we're going to be installing the CURT Custom Fit Class 2 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C12107. So this is what our hitch looks like fully installed, and as you can see, you got plenty of clearance for any of those accessories, whether it be a bike rack or a cargo carrier. Now this is a Class 2 hitch, and it has a 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 opening with a reinforced collar, so it's going to have a nice rigid, durable, strong feel to it. Now this hitch has a 350-pound tongue weight, which is going to be the force pushing down right here, and it has a 3,500-pound trailer weight rating, which is the amount it can pull. Now you do want to double check your owner's manual to make sure that your vehicle can handle that weight. Now the safety chain loops is a welded on plate, which still have plenty of room and plenty of clearance to get any kind of safety loops attached. Now CURT does recommend using a safety strap when carrying any non-trailer loads, such as a bike rack or a cargo carrier. Now this hitch uses a standard 1/2-inch pin and clip, which is included. Now one of the things I really like about this hitch is it does sit really nice and close to flush with the body, and it still gives you adequate clearance underneath and plenty of options when choosing accessories. Now I'll go ahead and give you a quick few measurements to help you when deciding for accessories, such as a bike rack or cargo carrier. From the center of the pitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper is 2 1/4 inches. And from the inside top of the receiver tube to the ground is 11.5 inches. Now let's go ahead and show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we're going to remove the bracket on both the driver and passenger side, 14mm bolt here, and one on each side of the front. Now with that bracket off, we'll go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. With our brackets removed, we're going to be lowering the exhaust by removing up here. This is a 14mm bolt. With the bolts removed and the exhaust down in the front, we can come back here and remove these 2 bolts. Now these are going to be 12mm. With our exhaust lowered down, we still have 2 more bolts to remove till it's fully out of the way, but for safety purposes, we're going to use this strap to support it while I take it down. Our next step is going to be removing the heat shield, and there's 2 bolts, and we're going to be using a 10mm socket. Now if your vehicle has dual exhaust, you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Our vehicle does not though. Now as you can see, there's several stickers on the bottom of our frame rail. We're going to want to remove those, that way we can get access to the holes that we need to. Now that we have access to the holes, we don't have to worry so much about the excess around it, but just so that we can get access to the hole. Now we can do the same thing on the other side. Now on the other side, we're only going to have this one up front, as well as this one back here. All right, next with an extra set of hands, we're going to lift the hitch into position. And we're going to be using the supplied hardware to make a temporary hold so we can mark the frame of where we need to drill our hole. So with the hitch in place, we're going to be marking the frame right here at the most forward hole, and we're going to mark the other side as well. Now with the frame marked, we're going to take down our hitch. Next, we're going to drill the location that we marked previously, and we're just going to drill a pilot hole to start with. Next, we're going to be using a step drill bit to enlarge the hole just big enough so that our plate can fit through. Now, as you can see, there's just enough room to get our spacer in there. But now, since we have bare metal exposed, we're going to go back and cover it with some spray paint so we don't have to worry about any rust. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we can take our supplied fish wire, the plate, as well as the carriage bolt. First, you're going to want to put the plate through the fish wire, and then you're going to want to thread the bolt onto the fish wire, just like that. Now, simply take the bolt, feed it up into the hole, along with the plate, making sure everything fits in there, and then simply pull the bolt through, leaving the fish wire attached. And we're going to repeat that same process on the other side. All right, we're now with an extra set of hands. We can put our hitch into position, putting the fish wire through the appropriate hole. We're going to remove the fish wire. And then we can install our nut, hand tight just enough so the hitch doesn't fall. Now, according to the instructions, the heat shield will need to be trimmed if you want to reinstall it. So there, I've just marked out where I'm going to trim. Now, to cut this, you can use a pair of tin snips like I'm doing, a rotary tool, cutoff wheel, pretty much anything that's going to cut through this metal. Now, you do want to keep in mind to wear your protective equipment and be careful because this is very sharp and you don't want to cut yourself. Now, when reinstalling the heat shield, keep in mind you are only going to be using the forward-most fastener. Now, as you can see, our heat shield has a little bit of slop to it. So we're going to run a self-tapper right here to give it a little more structural support, and hopefully it won't rattle around as much. We're going to go ahead and install our hardware here on the driver's side, and once we get it installed, hand tight, we're going to move to the passenger side. Quick tech tip, we're going to run all our fasteners in, and before we put our exhaust back up, we're going to torque this bolt down, because once it's up, we won't be able to access it. And we'll be torquing this bolt to the specified amount in the instructions. And we'll be using a 19mm socket back here. Now with this bolt torqued, we can take these down and put our exhaust back up. Now with our hardware loosely installed, we can go ahead and snug it up, and we'll be using a 17mm socket for these two bolts. And now we can torque the rest of our hardware to the specified amount in the instructions. With all our hardware torqued down, we can go ahead and reinstall our exhaust. And that'll finish up the installation of the CURT Custom Fit Class 2 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C12107 on our 2017.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.